guys, welcome back to another video. So here today I'm going to be talking a little bit about how my study technique changed from the beginning of my semester to the end of my semester, and let me tell you, it has changed a lot, if not completely. So let's start off with how I first started studying. So first I started off doing outlines, and that was basically how I was studying for my prerequisites. And the study guides were being based off of the objectives from my book, and some of them were objectives from my professor, but mostly the book, just because I thought the book was the one thing we needed to like focus on, and that's like where all of our material was, and like that was it. That's all I really studied from. Turns out I spent all my time writing this outline, and let me tell you, my study technique changed after the first exam, because the first exam I had, I failed. And that was because I spent all my time trying to make this outline, and I spent all my time making the outline, but I never spent any time actually reviewing it and studying off of it. So yeah, so how I changed it, or how I knew I knew I had to change my study technique because I failed my exam. And there's a video that I have a couple videos back on me failing my exam. I talk about it. And it's okay, you're gonna fail exams, trust me. And if you don't, fantastic. But after this exam, I haven't failed any of my exams. I've gotten mostly A's. So listen to what I have to say, okay? So first thing is first, listen to what your professor says to focus on. If they are repeating things in the lecture, write it down, highlight it, do something, make notes. And if you can record your lectures, record them, because they are a godsend. And sometimes if you go to school and you're just like not in the mood to listen to a lecture, you have it recorded right there on your recorder, your iPad, your phone, whatever it is. So what I do is I record my lecture, I take notes on my iPad, and when I go home on my lecture day, my lectures on Mondays, I don't study. I don't study at all. Mostly because the day after is my clinical day and I have to wake up super early. So I don't like to study, and just shoving all the information into my head just doesn't work. And again, let me remind you, what works for me might not work for you. But I'm just letting you know how I study, because maybe it might work for you. So just a heads up, it might not work for everyone. Some people study right after the lecture just to kind of get more information from the lecture. I like to do it after my clinical days, and my clinical days this semester were Tuesday and Wednesday. So on Thursday, I will re-listen to the lecture. I'll actually have the PowerPoint printed so that I could take physical notes all over again, add the ones that I took during the lecture, and write down all the things that I missed, because you know, when you're in lecture and you're writing down notes, sometimes you miss some things. I liked to write the medications in regards to the lecture and the labs on a separate like lined piece of paper, kind of like a reference that I can go to without flipping through the whole PowerPoint. So I would write down the medication, what was so important about that medication, if they had side effects that I needed to know, I would write it down. If there was anything in a lecture, like a chart or like a little cartoon thing that kind of explained what we were talking about, I would print those out and also keep them as references. And I would put all of these in clear pockets, and I would use them as references when I was finished with them. And it was nice to just go over them over and over and over again, and then flip through the lecture and make sure I'm really understanding everything. I would wake up early on the day of the exam and just kind of go through all of that information again. You really need to know your information, and you really need to retain it, because just word dumping it and forgetting about it is not going to get you anywhere. But that's what really helped me. Another thing that I changed doing is not really reading the book as much as I should be, and I just felt like the lectures gave me more information. It was more updated information than the book was, because sometimes what the book said would contraindicate what the teacher said, or what the teacher said would contraindicate what the book would say. So if I really needed some more information on something, I would definitely read the book, or if I had some extra time, I would read the book as well. Most of the time I would read the book, but I wouldn't go into so much depth and reading every single word the way I would with my prereqs. So it was more so just information that I thought was really important and that went with the objectives. And then I would also do practice questions. So there's practice questions at the end of the chapters in the book. And then I had an online resource that went with my textbook that I could also do practice questions on, and they were NCLEX based. And those were really helpful. I also have an NCLEX Saunders book, and it's a huge book. It has practice questions in there. Didn't necessarily open that one as much. I mostly relied on the practice questions from the site that went with my textbook. So, and I also use ATI, and I hear a lot of people use ATI with their schools. So, and that really helps as well, because they do like practice exams on there in accordance to whatever you're learning in your class at the time. So it's nice. I really had to change my study technique because I didn't want to fail again. I knew I had to do something to change my study technique in order to be successful. And again, the way I study may not be the way you study, or my advice not be good for you, but maybe good for someone else. So just take it the way you want and use the information that I give you the way you'd like, and you will do amazing things. You will pass your exams. I believe in you. And again, if you need any help or assistance or any questions, please email me at my email right here, futurenursenicole@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. So please send me any questions you have, any comments that you have, put down below. I'll be sure to read them and reply to them. I love hearing from you guys. And again, thank you for subscribing and thumbs up my video. Thanks. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you in the next one.